terrible communication, always turning up late, leaving the house in an absolute state. These are just some of the worries every customer has when choosing an electrician to work for them. These faux pas have become so common that many customers just feel like it's part of the process and they just have to put up with it. But this is definitely not acceptable behavior, and customers certainly should not have to put up with it. So in this video, we're going to reveal 5 massive red flags that you need to spot when choosing an electrician so that you can avoid the cowboys and only pick the cream of the crop. Now, the first red flag you'll find is poor communication. That should set alarm bells ringing. Now, we're not just talking about speed and frequency of communication, but also how clear they are in communicating what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. For example, they might be very vague in describing the job. They might be very vague about how much it's going to cost. And all of these things are vital pieces of information so that you can plan and make an informed buying decision. So if communication starts off good, but slowly deteriorates and gets worse, or if they get vaguer and vaguer every time you contact them, that should set alarm bells ringing that maybe you need to go elsewhere and find a better electrician. Now, you'll find electricians at different stages in their career and in their business, and depending on the size of job that you're looking to get done, it might affect which way you go, whether you go for a one-man band local type electrician or whether you go for a larger company who've got a team. For us here at Artisan Electrics, for example, we've got a team in the office who are answering the phones, responding to emails. So even if myself and Tom, for example, who do a lot of the quotes and deal with the designs for the systems, if we're not immediately available, someone in the office will be there to pick up an email and set expectations for the customer. And you'll generally find that larger companies do have a bit more of a team to be able to do that, and therefore communication can flow a bit better. It is really hard when you're a one-man band to try and answer the phones, deal with emails and be out working and doing the job. And that's why a lot of one-man band tradesmen really struggle with communication. Now, we need to be clear about something here. Just because an electrician doesn't respond instantly and in detail to every request that you put in doesn't mean they're a bad electrician or a bad business person. Electricians are busy. Good electricians are usually very busy. So you shouldn't expect an instantaneous response. But I'm more talking about the kind of vibes that you get from the type of communication that you have with the electrician. It may be that they're just very vague, they make promises and they don't deliver on them, and they're not willing to be clear with you about things like timelines and cost. And those things are a big deal because as a customer, you need to have accurate information so that you can make an informed buying decision. So now we're going out to site to see Lee and Ruben to see what they think as well. By the way, if you think this video might be useful to someone, why not share it out with them? Hey guys, I just want to take 60 seconds to tell you about something super exciting that I've been working on in the background. I've personally co-founded a software company called 𝐿. It's a game changer for electricians like you, and here's why. 𝐿 is a tool that allows customers to describe their jobs quickly and easily and allows you to gather all of the information that you need to provide an accurate quote. A bit like a virtual site survey, so that instead of having to go out to site, you can quickly analyse the information that they've provided and give them an accurate quote quickly and easily. It's a massive time saver for you as an electrician and also for your customers. Now, we've just launched a load of new journeys, which is really exciting because it's going to allow you to use 𝐿 for things like consumer unit changes, rewires, adding sockets, lights, and all of the normal electrical work that you might do on a day-to-day basis. I'd love for you guys to try it out and give me your feedback. There's a link below where you can sign up for a free trial now. Another massive red flag is a lack of respect for the customer's property. For example, not putting shoe covers on or taking your boots off when you walk into a customer's house is a massive no-no. And if you're a customer, I'm sure you would appreciate it if the electrician shows respect for your property. One of the ways is by dust sheeting everything to protect the surfaces and making sure they wear shoe covers or take their shoes off when they come into your house. So many bad horror stories of electricians traipsing through people's houses with muddy boots, and it's a massive bugbear of mine. I just can't believe anyone would do that. If you are hiring an electrician, you want to make sure that they have those little things in place before you hire them. For example, if they come out to do a site visit, visiting your house, when they walk in, do they take their shoes off? Do they put shoe covers on? If they do, that's a good sign that they care about you and your property, and they'll be respectful. And if you're an electrician, my top customer service hack is the muck guard shoe covers. When I walk into a customer's front door and I slip those on, it just makes such an amazing impression on customers. I'll leave a link below where you can get them. It's such a no-brainer when it comes to customer service and just avoiding you getting muddy boot marks over the customer's carpet. But it also means you don't have to take your boots off, which can be dangerous. It's not really safe to work with bare feet. So it's a great solution for shoe covers that actually last rather than those rubbish blue plastic ones. The other thing is dust sheeting, as I mentioned, and I always dust sheet. The reason is I learned the hard way once where a customer actually tried to sue me because they said that I'd scratched their table. Because we were working around the table and we didn't put dust sheets over everything. And I couldn't prove that I didn't do it. So in the end, we had to go through the insurance. They basically got the table French polished thanks to my insurance policy, which was annoying. But the lesson I learned is always cover surfaces with dust sheets, protect all of the surfaces so that there's never any chance that you might damage the customer's surfaces. Now, these might seem like small things, but for customers, they're actually really big things. Often the care that you show and the respect that you show for their property is more important than the actual electrical work itself. That customer service is absolutely key. And if you blow the customer's socks off with amazing customer service, they're more likely to recommend you to their friends because they've had a good experience. Whereas the opposite is the case. If they have a bitter taste in their mouth because you didn't respect their property, they're not going to call you back and they're not going to recommend you to their friends. Now, let me know, guys, in the comments what you think some other red flags might be, and we'll see if we talk about those red flags later in the video. So the third big red flag is when you search online for this particular electrician, you can't find any social proof. So they're not on social media, they don't have a good website, they're not sharing their work out on social media. If any electrician is proud of what they do, unless they're from the Stone Age, they should be on social media right now, because social media is not an option anymore. If you're running a business, you need to have a website and you need to be on social media. All successful businesses are. So you've got to ask yourself, if they're not out there on social media, if they don't have a good website, why? Do they really care about their business? Are they really proud of their work? If they were, surely they'd be sharing it out there. Now, I know that there are some really great old school Sparkies who just can't be bothered with technology and they've got 20 years worth of clients and they don't need to advertise. I get that. And if you can find one of those, if they're still around and not retired, I'm sure you get a great job. But they're few and far between. And in general, this video is about how to find a good electrician for the masses, not just in the back and beyond in a little village, the local Sparky who's been doing it for years. So share your work on social media if you're an electrician. It's such a great way to show customers that you're proud of what you do and actually give them an example of your work, because otherwise, for a customer, it's just a wild stab in the dark, really. You don't know what you're going to get. Whereas if you can see an electrician's previous work, like a portfolio, like a brochure of all their previous projects, it builds up a lot more confidence in what they do. And the other thing to check when it comes to online presence is reviews. Again, if they're a good electrician and they've got other customers who are happy with their work, normally they'll have a load of reviews online, and you can go to their Google My Business page, or maybe they've got a Trustpilot page or some other review platform, and you can see loads and loads of reviews. Now, if they've got tons of glowing 5-star reviews, and by the way, check that they sound genuine. Some people buy reviews, unfortunately, but if the reviews sound genuine and they're descriptive enough, then in general, you can trust this company because they've built up a reputation and customers are willing to go out there and vouch for them and leave them a positive review. Now, Artisan Electrics, if you've been following us for a while, you'll know that we practice what we preach. We put tons of work out on social media because we're really proud of what we do and we like to showcase it to show future customers what we're capable of. We've also got a ton of really good reviews online which we've built up over time, and between the two of these it gives our customers confidence that they're going to get a good job if they come to Artisan Electrics. So the fourth red flag that you need to look out for is people not charging enough. If the price seems too good to be true, then that's a massive red flag, or it should be. I know that sometimes people are out looking for a cheap deal, but like with anything in life, you get what you pay for. And the same applies to electricians. It's not cheap to run a trades business these days. Vans, tools, insurances, all of the registrations that we need to certify our work, all of that costs a lot of money. So even one-man bands tend to have quite high overheads in this industry. And if the price is so cheap that you're surprised, then there's probably either something missing, or the electrician's not charging enough for their services and they're probably not going to survive for a long time. So if an electrician's able to compete on price and give you a stupidly low deal or beat all of the competition, there's probably a reason for it. Have they got all of the required insurances? Are they fully qualified, and do they keep up with regular training? It's worth asking the question. If the price seems too good to be true, then it probably is. And what would happen if you went with the cheapest price, but something went wrong and the electrician was not insured or couldn't provide a full warranty? It could end up costing you more in the long run. In fact, I've got a few horror stories from customers that I've worked with in the past where exactly that has happened. We've had multiple customers in the solar industry where they've got a really cheap price from some kind of scheme or from a rock bottom quote from an installer, and the installation has been a complete disaster with cabling not neat, all the way up to actually systems not even working properly and them having to call us in to fix the absolute horror show of a mess that they found. We've also had situations where customers got really cheap price for an EICR, for example, electrical inspection report, but then found that it wasn't worth the paper it was written on because the electricians had just made up all the results and not really done proper thorough inspection and testing. So usually if the price is cheap, there's a reason for it, and be careful. Now, I'm not saying that all electricians who are cheap are bad, okay? There are probably some gems out there who just are undercharging and offer a really low price for the service that they offer. But again, like, being an electrician is a super valuable skill. It takes years of training and a lot of experience to become a really good electrician. So electricians should charge what they're worth in order to be able to offer the kind of service that a customer deserves. Now, as an electrician, you might be thinking, but I have to put in a low price, otherwise the customer will never accept my quote, they'll go with somebody else. But here's the thing, there can be an advantage to not giving the lowest price. In fact, I once had a customer say something to me which made a big impression. He said, "You are reassuringly expensive." And actually, that's true. Often when you're paying more, you feel more confident that you're going to get a good job. Now, I'm not saying that all electricians who charge a fortune do a great job either. There's a balance to be had. But if you're too cheap, it can plant a seed of doubt in the customer's head as to, why are you so cheap? So actually being more on the expensive scale can be a good thing. Now, the fifth red flag is when the electrician says to you, "I'll do you a deal if you pay cash," or "I only accept cash." Why should that be a red flag? Well, you might say, it's none of my business what the electrician does and how they declare their income. But if they're willing to lie to the tax man, then what makes you think they're not going to be willing to lie to you? Honesty is an important quality in business, and not all tradespeople out there are honest. So if the radar and the vibe that you're getting from them is they're a little bit underhanded, and maybe that's by trying to avoid paying tax. For example, "I'll knock the VAT off if you pay me cash," that should ring alarm bells, because really you want an honest tradesperson who's honest in everything they do. So make sure you check the payment terms and all of the small print when it comes to whoever you take on. If they've got good terms and conditions and they lay out payment terms to you, then that's a really good sign that they're an organized business who does things legitimately, and you're going to know where you stand throughout the entire process. Now you thought we were finished because I've given you 5 red flags, but I've got a 6th bonus one for you, and that is timekeeping. Customers are busy people and they want to know when a tradesperson is going to turn up so that they can prepare and they don't have to sit around waiting all day. But there are so many electricians out there who will be very vague about what time they're going to arrive, or they'll be very late and not let the customer know. Now, timekeeping is such a simple thing really. It's just about being organised, setting off at the right time so that you get there on time or a little bit early. I always try to be 10 minutes early for any appointments, just in case there are some delays on the way. And at Artisan Electrics, what we do is we make a promise to our customers that we'll always turn up on time, or if in the rare circumstance we're running late, we'll simply give the customer a call to let them know that we're running late, because of course traffic happens, some delays do occur, but it's all about communication and letting the customer know and managing expectations. So if you find an electrician who's not turning up on time, who doesn't let you know when they're running late, or maybe they're just very vague and they say, I'll be with you sometime between 8 AM and 5 PM or in the morning, well, that's not good enough. They're not organised. Every tradesperson who's organised should know exactly what jobs they're doing, when they're going to be doing them and how long they're going to take. So timekeeping is a very important factor. So those were my 5 red flags when it comes to choosing an electrician. Let me know if I've missed any in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, why not sit back and watch one of these 2 that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy.